Hey everybody, welcome to episode 94 of Tactical Crouch. We're a competitive Overwatch podcast. I'm KickedTripod, joined by Yiska and Volamel as always. It's only been 3 days since we've seen you. If you missed it, on Friday we posted a special episode with Curry Shot that you can actually go check out right now. Really good stuff, very all over the place, I'll admit. Not our most organized show, but lots of great insights from Curry Shot. Love the way he thinks about the game, and we love having him on. So definitely go do check that out. Another thing that we did want to bring up before we get started today is we actually are looking to add somebody to the Tactical Crouch team. And what we mean by that is we've been wanting to do this for a while, is we want to have a dedicated video editor who can come in and bring in some B-roll footage and help us out with some other video projects. So if you have the initial, it's very basic editing. So if you know how to use and clip together clips in iMovie, chances are you have the skill to do it and want to make a little extra money. We will be paying, so just send us a DM on Twitter at tactical_crouch, or you can also, that's probably the best way to do it. Send us a DM on Twitter, tactical_crouch. Let us know that you're interested. If you have any links to any of the stuff you've worked on, that's going to be great. We'd love to get you in helping us, and that's about it. Cool. All right, guys. Hey. What's up, dudes?
What up?
What up?
What up? We got a lot to talk about, so let's just jump in. News and everything else brought to you, of course, by our patron producers: Battle Crab, Pin Lolshin, Charlie L, Audio Compass, Pork Chop, Sammy, Kasha67, Coochie Kopi, Salsa Boy 91, Shara, and Picasso. Thank you so much for supporting the show. If you like the show, go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. And you can support there. You can anywhere from $1 to $25 a month, whatever you want, whatever makes sense for you. Come join us for game night. We'll announce when that is on Wednesday. And other than that, let's talk about what is going on in the world of competitive Overwatch right now. So we do have some news that the reason why we haven't seen some of the Korean rosters is they're back in Korea under 14-day quarantine or in conditions where they can't compete. The London Spitfire being one of those. So that's where they're at. They finally put out an update. Seoul is going to be playing now this week, right?
Yes. And they're having some banger matches against the Shanghai
I haven't looked
Dragons
at
as well.
next week's matches yet. I'm so excited.
We got some stuff to talk about. I'm excited about 4 matches on Wednesday.
Should be good.
Yeah. So that's what's going on. I don't really have much. I don't think there's really much to say to that. That's just hashtag pandemic life, I guess. So par for the course there. But we did talk a little bit about this last week and in the preseason, actually. So there's something going on in Vancouver right now. Recently, so we saw, it was 2 weeks ago, right? The Vancouver Titans had 2 pretty disappointing losses. And since then, things seem to have hit a critical mass and have started spiraling out of control. Slime, Hacksaw, and Twilight have removed Titans from their social media bios, banners, YouTubes, whatever. Jaehong, I just saw, has done this as well. Now, Fissure was streaming a few days ago, said that he wouldn't comment on what's going on, but he did acknowledge that there is something going on, and we'll probably hear about it at some point.
Mm-hmm.
So, and
to be fair, real quick about Jaehong, he actually never had Vancouver Titans in his bio. What he did was he wiped his Instagram except one picture. that doesn't necessarily indicate anything.
That's true. Yeah, that is true.
Right.
Yeah, I think, and if we forget names or platforms, it's not really important. The point is, there seems to be some sort of consistent theme among most of the Vancouver Titans going on. I mean, Yiska, like what we kind of in the preseasons when we're doing our preseason power rankings, we talked about the volatility of some of the pieces of the puzzle in the Vancouver Titans organization, from the players to the staff to the ownership organization. Obviously now, I don't think I expected it to be happening in like week 11. Feels kind of quick, especially when they've only played a handful of
four
matches.
matches.
Yeah, 4 matches, 5 matches. But what's your take on what's going on here?
Okay. I don't actually want to talk too much about the details. I also don't know enough about the details to say who's in the wrong and who is in the wrong from my point of view the most. I hope it turns out well. That might be one of those circumstances where the more you talk about it, the worse it gets for everyone involved.
Yeah,
so let me refrain from commenting further.
All right.
Which sucks for a podcast, but yeah, that's
all right.
At the end of the day, like we want the best outcome for these players and for the organization
100%.
itself, right?
Totally.
And I will also say there's bullshit going on, of course. Otherwise,
I mean, that's pretty obvious, right?
And a rookie would be playing.
Right.
I can agree there.
Yep.
Also, a team of the caliber of Vancouver Titans would probably also not go 0-2 in that week.
Yep.
So you do the math. We laid the breadcrumbs.
I think it's pretty obvious, and as somebody who doesn't know anything, here's a healthy dose of speculation, without any kind of like conscience, berating. Right. I would imagine, right, as a player in the Overwatch League, you're probably under contract and kind of obligated to represent your team. So by kind of removing a lot of the details of what team you're on, it's kind of like in my eyes, it's a soft way to say, you to the man, right? Like you're just trying to distance yourself from the org as much as possible because there's friction between one group and another group. Group A being the players and the team, Group B, the organization, the people in charge of things. Why that is, not a clue. Could be a number of reasons, probably exacerbated by the fact that COVID is kind of, shaking the world up at the moment. And they're triaging the situation as best they can. I agree with Yiska. I hope everything works out, and I hope we get to see the Titans back to their form, but it doesn't seem like things are going nicely as of right now. Yeah, hopefully things get remedied, because it'd be a shame to lose a good team like that.
Yeah. So I just wanted to add one thing to all of this. I do have insider info. I'm just kidding. I don't. I actually don't. But I do think that there's one thing that we've seen in the past, is that the first story that ends up coming out from a party involved tends to be the one that the community and scene latch onto at all costs. Practice common sense and restraint and critical thinking as these stories come to light. It's very, and again, I don't know if the organization's at fault. I don't know if it goes all the way up to Canucks, or if it's Luminosity Gaming, or if it's the coaching staff, or if it's the players being awful. I honestly have no idea. What I do know is that there is an inherent distaste and dislike for certain parts of those 4 parts. Some people, are like, what, a corporation like Canucks can do no good and can mean no well, and therefore the buck stops with them, and it's all on them. And there's also people who are like, well, I heard that Fisher's a little So, you know, like at whatever side he's on, that's the side I hate. Just I don't know. Keep an open mind here. If you're somebody who needs to assign blame for you, I guess, and at the same time, I would also just say like, what good does that do? Practice restraint. I think the fact that Yiska practiced restraint on this podcast when asked with a very point blank question on some juice, is a testament that you can too.
Yes. let it be the signal that the most unrestrained league boy is not exploding at this, even though he very much wants to. Okay, so we don't leave you completely dry. There was one interesting comment, like Monty posted about something, like how do my bad, how do people, how do teams get away with these running narratives, and how is nobody addressing this and whatnot? There was a comment by Bench, I think, who said, "We're about to find out how unlikely the run of Vancouver Titans in season 2 was."
That's a whole narrative that, kind of blew over people's heads. That, again, I think for any hardcore fan of the show, I think you can Hansel and Gretel your way to where we're headed with this, or at least where I'm headed in terms of speculation. I don't talk to anybody. I'm pretty non-juicy. Desert over here. This, dry, arid.
I think you're juicy AF.
Well, you know, thanks. I appreciate it. You know, Race the Mayhem has been kind to me. That said, the idea of a family is very flowery and overblown. But you kind of see where I'm going.
Yeah, I'll also say that, like, Matt, the stats guy, sorry that I don't remember the full thing. He had a tweet like he thinks the Fusion are the most likely to win because
Mercil.
Some wholesome, like, I'm in love with a Coco type of thing.
Get that out of here. Nope.
Bro.
It couldn't be farther from the truth.
I'm not sure how it was in Shock, but every other finalist was killing each other.
First and foremost, if you want to win.
Exactly the opposite in the case is in Overwatch. The more toxic you are to your teammates, the higher you probably go.
Well, okay. Again, toxic is an adjective very loosely used in the gaming sphere.
Yes.
Let's be serious. It's hyper, and again, like this is like some sort of like dog whistle term. It feels like these days. Hyper competitive players. That all they want to do is win. Think of like Carpe, right? Carpe isn't the lovey-dovey, you know, hanging on your teammates and, you know, all this wholesome content. No. First and foremost, he's here to win. If Sato wasn't good, they would have kicked him. Why? Because probably Carpe has that kind of clout to say, I don't really care for this guy. I'm not saying the Fusion is run by Carpe. What I'm saying is you don't give that guy a 3-year contract and extend it and whatnot and pay him what he's worth if you don't value him and value his opinion and value the team's opinion. So that's why I was so set on, okay, I don't know why Sato's good. I don't know why Sato's still here, but they must trust him to warrant playing him enough, right? They must have some sort of faith. This isn't, very rarely, I think, in esports, do you have that lovey-dovey, you know, family at like essence to a team.
Yeah.
You may have had that earlier. You may have had that earlier with Runaway, but I think with the Overwatch League, you have to, things change. You know, families break apart. They don't last forever. Nothing lasts forever. Hate to break it to you.
And don't,
dude.
So the only other thing is don't like underreact on how well a family can seem to function for a long period of time, even when it's dysfunctional.
Totally.
There's a lot of people who wants to talk about how long they've been going, and you can't not be friends and work together kind of thing. And you can't be best friends and work together for that long. That's not totally based in reality. And in team sports, is it any different than the coworker you hate and you still have to do projects with? There are some differences when you're like living in a team house, I think. But other than that, this doesn't, just because it's been going on for a long time doesn't make it unlikely, I guess is what I would say.
Yep. 100%.
Just think of the stories where it went south. Just think them through from season 1. Like, we know Boston wasn't exactly like a tea party inside. First perfect stage, almost at the same time. Valiant was compartmentalized between their Western players and their Korean
and think
players.
about how wholesome all
Mega
that
clapping.
content was. You know what I'm saying? Like, think about all the inside the Valiant. Granted, yeah, they had their moments where they're like, oh no, Winston and Agility's in the in and out parking lot. Oh, crazy. But for the most part, I think the narrative that people took away with that, oh, they're so open. Oh, they're so wholesome. Oh, they're all friends. Turns out, couldn't be farther from the truth.
We've been doing this show for 94 episodes, and I hate both of these guys. And look at us. You think we're your 3 dads.
Yeah.
We're not.
Yeah.
We're not your 3 dads.
Yeah.
And 2 of your 3 dads suck.
Very gracious of you to admit it. Finally.
We need a video editor.
Yeah.
I can keep going, by the way. Like, do you guys think London loved each other after season 1?
Spoiler.
Of course, they won.
You know where Minus came from? The nickname Minus? Furnace?
No. I didn't know that was a nickname.
Guys, like, this is not like also, like, it's crazy. Once again, we have to say it's crazy how easy it is seemingly for 1 or 2 players to get carried on a team. Because I'm looking at LFZ or LF and I'm just like, how is everyone carried other than Daco? And of course, like, the thing is, like, the infighting works as long as you can still sit at the same table.
Yes.
And it definitely happens that this threshold is blasted out of the window, and then you can no longer work with each other, and then people leave. But as long as it somehow works, like, it blows. I would love for everyone to just be happy and, like,
100%.
great adults, and they grow, and, like, but this game is not like this. You gotta
riddle me
just
this.
empirically. Just empirically, it has been the case. Maybe Shock is completely different, by the way. That is very possible. That Shock was different, and they therefore could, like, completely stomp.
Doubt it, right? Let's be real. Highly doubt it. I think Krusty manages a lot of, like, the social bloodletting that goes on. Well, I think that's probably what he does probably the best, next to strategy, next to, delegating a lot to other people and having a good system. I'd imagine that that's what he's best at. In terms of coaching, I think it's a lot of what coaching is. I don't think Shock is a family. I couldn't name you a team, barring, like, old Runaway, that was, like, very much like, no matter what, we're going to stick together. You see it all through the role swaps. You see it through, not a large change in roster, but now with the move to the Titans, now with the kind of corporatization of that team, you start to see pieces leave. You start to see weird things happen. So when you tell me, by you, I mean the community and the narrative, that this team is still a family, there's more evidence to support that it isn't, or that things are going wrong or belly up, than to support it. Tizzy joining, Bumper leaving, Bumper not staying, Jayhong coming in. Why? What's up with all of this? But why isn't that family, that role swap that did everything they could to stick together, not doing that anymore? Is that a organizational thing? Is that a team thing? Who knows? What we do know is something changed, and it's not that way anymore.
And that's a big thing I do want to touch on, because we stated, if you're coming into the conversation now, or kind of skipped over because we spent a good 7-8 minutes on just the incorrect assumptions a lot of people have about how team chemistry correlates to results, and healthy teams win and unhealthy team chemistry loses. don't take that as like we're advocating for this is
No,
because the players
definitely
are dysfunctional together. It's definitely a part of it. It's something that we think is important to bring to light, as in general in the Overwatch League there are have been a lot of teams who have won who weren't necessarily each other's biggest fan, and you hear a lot about the orgs not paying or not providing this and that in the companies, and oftentimes there is a majority of fault to place on those organizations or corporations or management and coaching organizational portions of it. But there are scenarios where, especially when it comes to results, that players don't play as nice as you want. You know what they say, right? Like, don't ever meet your heroes because they're gonna let you down, because like they're not like they're not each other's best friends all the time.
Yep.
It's not like whatever. I'm trying to think of like
Michael
and Dwight hang out all the time when they're not filming The Office? Like, probably, yeah, exactly. Probably not. So,
and chat,
I'll also
I
say,
think they've got a good point. Dysfunctional is normal for a family. I don't think that's the same type of family that the Overwatch League fans are looking at. They want the ideal, the full house kind of family where everything's fine all the time and everybody's just best friends, and we're here to fight for our friends, and it's about the friends we made along the way, not the championship that we almost won. That's the idea that they're projecting on this team, and that couldn't be farther from the truth. And they probably are more like a traditional family that is dysfunctional, that does fight. But that's not real. That's not what they're seeing. They want the flowery idea of, they're all best friends. They're fighting for each other. It's not just, it's a band of brothers and sisters, and it's about more than just them.
It's the Cosby. It's like the Cosby Show.
Yeah,
because everybody hated each other on that show. I learned that out, and it ruined the show for me, among other things.
yeah, how about that other thing?
Yeah. But yeah, it was the same thing. It's like you find out that like two of them are huge douchebags, and the other ones are whiny brats, and like same thing with Home Improvement. Like I learned that about Home Improvement. I'm like, well, that sucks. Anyways, sorry to ruin those two shows for you. Now you don't have something to binge watch during your stay-at-home quarantined nights.
I wonder if Home Improvement actually stands up. I think that
it did. Katie and I watched it last year. It was the first like 4 seasons are so good. They're so funny.
I remember
if you like a little slapstick humor, if you like it,
it's true.
A little slapsticky. It's
I feel oddly called out. I'm wearing this shirt and having a beard. To be fair,
true.
You are Al. You are. Can you give us a? There it is. There you go. That's just for the video viewers. Wow.
It's not like any one of these 20-year-olds even know what we're talking about, right?
No. I know, right?
There's no way.
Long ago.
Honestly not.
Yeah, Yiska is German Al. What's the like German name for Al or Albert?
Al.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Yeah. Anyways, sorry to derail that very like serious conversation.
Yeah.
Closing thoughts on the Titans.
Humans are fallible, and if we don't give that leeway to humans, then we're dehumanizing them. So people fuck up. Everyone fucks up. Professional people fuck up. 20-year-olds fuck up.
True.
Everyone fucks up. Let's have a pint over it and just chill.
There goes the clean tag. Thanks.
You're welcome. Wait. I'm adding.
Let me demonetize this video. Jeez.
Let's see.
I would agree with most of what Yiska said, but I would also. This is a cautionary tale for anybody who stays within esports past Overwatch. These are for like the fans, years down the line that somehow have discovered this audio podcast and are now like interested in Overwatch history. whatever esport you're watching, whether it be Overwatch, whether it be NHL 2040, I don't know, I don't care. Everybody probably is more dysfunctional. Just take the dysfunctional factor that you apply to someone and probably multiply it.
Yeah.
And then try to think about life that way. Very rarely are things exactly how you think they are or how they're portrayed to you through content or whatnot. They're usually a lot less. There's less to it. I'll put it like that.
Yeah. All right. That's it. That's our thought on the Titans. I'm sure many people will find a few statements to just be really pissed off at.
That's fine. Let them.
I'll just encourage you, step back for a second and think, were we trying to be fair? Or are you just trying to like take a couple sentences out of context? Anyways,
I also feel like we hedged so much that it could literally mean anything and everything you could possibly apply. So please, okay, here's the thing. Here's the big brain play. If someone makes a Reddit clip, just clip the following. None of what we just said will lead you to what actually happened. You're an idiot for quoting this clip out of context. Thank you.
Boom.
There you go. That's your top comment, please.
All right. Are we good, chat? We're good? All right, let's move on. The Echo tournament this weekend. I'm going to be honest, I did not get to watch as much of this as I wanted. It's tough.
Got exactly to watch exactly as much as I wanted. 0 seconds.
Same. Big same.
You don't like these community tournament type things?
No. I don't like it just like for the content. I don't care.
It's just not for, not for us.
It's not Germany.
I'm big mad. How is it that we can make available the main out channel, the best time slot for an Echo tournament and not for contenders? Like, forget about the best time slot. Owl channel in for the contenders region. How is that possible? Nah, dude, get me out of here. I don't care. Sorry to be party pooling, but that's oof.
Yeah, I mean, it's constantly like, why couldn't they do this XYZ? I don't know. I'm past that myself, and yeah, it's just content not for me. It seems like it was well received. Got okay viewers. Got some people streaming it that was fun and interesting, and I'm glad that the community liked it. But yeah, not really content for me. I'm cool with just what we got in the Overwatch League so far, and every other contenders game I can catch.
So for me, I love the idea of these things. I don't think that like it's something I want weekly because it becomes just like anything else. But the fact that we have these, periodic, like I would say like quarterly one-off tournaments that are just a little bit off of the mainstream. I call Yiska's like preference of what he gets out of Overwatch as German esports, where it's all about these micro decisions and strategy and the fencing, the ballet, and stuff. Like if you just watch it, it's kind of boring. Opera, you just listen or watch, you're just kind of like you can't really appreciate it. But if you get kind of deep in there, you develop an addicting appreciation to it. And sometimes Overwatch League just needs a little WWE. You just need a little MMA, and even then, like I guess MMA is pretty technical. But let's just say WWE. You need a little just bowling, dude. I just need to see if he hits the pins or not, man. Like that's all I need. Give me darts. Like,
not to misunderstand, right?
Sure.
Do that thing. Have fun. Also have fun with our players. Get them a little bit out of their ruts, out of their like habits. Make fun teams, get the community engaged. On a Tuesday night, either not on the Owl channel or also have contenders on the Owl channel. Yeah. Thank you.
I'm all for contenders on the Owl channel. In fact, I'm all for just make a channel that says Overwatch League Contenders Division Tournaments. Just all one long name. Put them all on there. Call it be done. Overwatch esports for all I care, honestly. There's no have them all
Lo-fi,
funneled together. There's no
Overwatch
reason.
esports.
There's no reason why they can't all be on a central channel. In most scenarios, I understand if you have a scheduling overlap, you need a backup channel. Great, but if it's a primary, I would say if it's a tournament run by Blizzard in some way, it should be on the Overwatch League channel. And that's
be who of you to do that. Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, I think this is great. I got to watch a couple games. I did get to watch Team 1, the team that actually ended up winning, with Jake and Dante, Clone Man, Harblue, Fran, Kareev, and Red Shell. Just kind of cool to see like some different some different like personalities, combination of streamers and tier 1 players and tier 2 players, retired players, casters, all kind of coming together and stomping. But put them up against, put Stone Cold Steve Austin up against a fencing master on the fencing line, and I understand why Yiska immediately is pulling his hair out.
No, like I remembered what happened during these matches, and while we're already starting with Big Mad. Now that actually made me furious. I don't know if you guys saw the tweet Fran put out, where she was playing during the finals.
Okay, sure.
Won the entire thing, and then like whenever something didn't go their way, just people made misogynistic insults, like e-girl actually live feeding, like stuff like that. Right? Like, get out of my esport. I don't care for you at all.
Yeah.
Like, and if half of you go, like, that's still, you're not bringing any value to this scene whatsoever. You're actually probably draining viewers by being shitty edgelords. Man, I'm sick of sharing the internet with 16 to 20-year-olds, by the way, too. Because that's the edgy little, like, it's just the worst, dude. Like, that, I went through that phase as well. And I actively post-hate myself for whatever I did in that time frame. I get it. Hormones are crass, but come on. Maybe we just attach little, like shields to them, just so like little warning notes, like 16 to 20-year-olds white male talking shit, or just ban them preemptively. I'm sorry, like there's just a 60 to 70% chance you're a dickhead on the internet, so get out.
You're like you need to take a second to have some introspective on who you are. Like, nobody's perfect, but that's a far way from any level of attempting to be perfect. You're just an asshole. You just are. Like, don't do it. Avast had a pretty funny tweet. It was actually it was half an hour ago. He said, "My face when I haven't played Overwatch in 2 months after taking a year break before that. Get asked to play an attorney and I get absolutely carried. And people go out of their way to say Fran is weighing down their team." Like, there was a lot of players who should be a lot better, like just from their professional experience, than like Fran is as a really incredible streamer. Katie loves Fran's stream, by the way. I don't watch Overwatch streams, so I don't know what to tell you.
Nope, true.
But if I did, and they played really poorly. I mean, even when you look at the roster that they had compared to, there was one team with like Super, and who was it? It was Super, and was it Striker and
Rascal?
Rascal, thank you. Yeah, like some really good players, and they didn't win. Like, they won. And people are still finding ways to be complete ass about it.
Yeah.
And that's what, oh man, just like, I don't know. And even, I have to hand it to Fran. She's just like, if you want to like critique my playing, call me a bad player, fine. But to make it about my gender,
that's also I think that's very important to make these tweets, by the way, as well, and actually add them. Like, just like, I think sometimes, dude, I didn't know, like, for the longest time, I didn't know what women on the internet have to face, because you, of course, as a guy, aren't exposed to that.
No.
And you're probably also like, so how, as a non-asshole, do you get to that connection, right? Having a younger sister helped with that development. Nope. Having had a girlfriend in the space is nuts. You guys are wilding out there. Jesus Christ. And just call them out. Just make it very apparent how often it's happening. Just let that seep into the subconsciousness of everyone that this is not okay and that this is happening so frequently, and add them.
Reject it. Reject it completely.
Yep.
Unfortunately, the people who do that don't have enough brain cells to listen and understand this podcast. So, unfortunately, we may be falling on the really great people in the community who are 100% supportive of Fran and the community. I see you, chat. And you guys are all, this is not at you. You're doing great. Stand up against it. But
100%.
Jeez, come on. Come on. All right.
Got some social growth to do. What can we say?
Yeah.
Just gotta
and also call it out when it happens in your rank game.
Yeah.
Anyone being an asshat in any kind of bigotry type of way, gotta call them out. You're the older OGs now. You gotta say something. Who else is going to say something?
True.
So your social responsibility too.
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, Echo tournament, pretty cool. Not the most competitive thing, but a nice change of pace, I think, with everything going on. This isn't the preview episode for week 12, but can we just talk about the irony of doing an Echo tournament and then doing the ban phases and having Echo be eligible to ban in week 1? Can we just talk about that for a second?
I mean, it was kind of expected, though, right? Kind of knew it. New hero comes out. You're banning for the ladder. What do you think all the ladder people are playing? Probably playing Echo. If I'm Blizzard, though, I'm gonna put my tinfoil hat on here for a second. I'm gonna say the 500 IQ play is to have an Echo tournament because you know that it's going to be banned, and that's why it took up like the main spot on the weekend. That's why it was on the Overwatch League channel, because they needed to showcase it. They wanted to showcase it. They wanted to market it, because with the system they just added, it was just going to get banned. That's my conspiracy take. That this was because they knew it was going to be banned.
I mean, there's some level of chance into that. It's not like it's a guaranteed. I mean, it's not. I mean, probably 50% max. We don't know how everything is weighted.
Of what? In terms of how it's banned, or like the bans work?
The chance of being banned.
I don't know. I think that was a pretty likely chance that was going to happen. I put money on that.
A higher chance, but like than the other options.
For me, likely.
But I don't know about likely. I doubt it's about 50%.
New DPS hero, right? When they decide to add the bans based on the ladder, you don't think that's like going to astronomically inflate her numbers?
Eligible, Eric says. I don't know. Maybe. I mean, again, maybe, but I don't know. It's kind of irrelevant. I would love some transparency on this process, but maybe 100%. I just miss the draw. It's just really weird. Just delay the release an extra week. Just do it.
That's the thing. Think. I'm really trying to get off this negativity train, but it just unfortunately starts piling up. And it's like, bro, we are talking about this systemic issue of hero pools for like until we literally will have half of our viewership just fed up with it. But like, why does it only have to happen that something ridiculous happens by chance that we then can talk about it? Why do we always need an event instead of looking at the rules and then extrapolating of what could happen. It is so draining.
You want to pay me money?
Draining.
We can just think tank on the podcast and come up with like, we can just poke holes if you want.
That's it, dude.
Well, I'll do it for free.
I won't.
It's like it's
You gotta
like
pay me to ugh.
I feel like, you know, this Swedish streamer Forsen, and like every game he plays, instantly he will find a bug that just breaks the game and where he has to restart or he goes back to guest top. Somehow he always finds that out. I feel like when I read like a rule announcements, I'm just like, how, bro? Bro, please, like this is so obvious as well. Like the idea that the meta would be following like the Overwatch League meta when we front load or backload, sorry, the meta selection. So how would possibly the Overwatch League meta determine what is being played in the first 3 or 4 days of the week? How did this happen? Is that the reason, by the way, why we're having Thursday games? So we're not just influencing the last 2 days of ranked with the Overwatch meta? Or do we even think someone watches in EU by 1 a.m. or something like that? Like, come on,
the chaotic
dude.
Energy in me enjoys where your head's at with that one.
I think the thing is, imagine coming up with that system going, our newly conceived system is perfect. Instead, we must change the entire schedule. If that was the case, like,
to be fair, I'd imagine they don't think it's perfect, right? Like, to be completely like dry, I don't think they think it's perfect. They obviously don't even think it's like foolproof, in the sense that they're leaving themselves a very casual back door and saying, well, guys, if it doesn't work, we can just remove it. It's not that big of a deal, right? Like, it seems like when the system was first developed and was first announced, that was kind of copied and pasted everywhere that they could, where it's just like, well, we could just remove it. It's not a big deal. Like, if you don't like it, we could just take it out. The problem is that everybody was just like super happy about it and was interested in the diversity. Week 1, week 2, okay, that's fine. And as time progresses, you start to see where we all are incredibly cynical with this. So we'll see. Yep. I don't know. Yeah, it's needlessly complicated. It keeps changing. I like the iteration, right? Like, that's a good idea. The execution again is up for question.
And the real thing, though, like, as much as we can poke holes and make fun of this, this just delays things a week, right? Like, it's just effectively delaying the launch a week.
Well, it's delaying the launch. It's killing a ban for hero pools as well.
True. That is true. That actually is probably a bigger effect than I think I originally considered. But I also say at the same time, like, hero pools gonna pool, bro. Like, I don't know. Like, it's just gonna, like, it's just, this is where we are now. This is and
it's to a point, like, I'm kind of looking at chat and it's like, I like, the system inherently isn't completely wrong, but there are just obvious flaws that could have just been remedied, like with what I feel like is just a little bit of thought. I don't know. And again, I don't have all the backroom knowledge. I don't have, the board of directors. I don't have, it could be, but when you have 3 days to prepare for something in a multi-million-dollar league and you're trying to like boost your product, not a good idea, right? Not a good idea.
But I don't know, whatever, man. Like, people are clearly enjoying, there's a lot of people who are enjoying watching.
Yeah, 8,000 people during China.
Well, okay.
And then
again,
28,000 during NA games.
I think that's the better argument. Because we don't know the Chinese numbers, right? We know the Western numbers now, and they're not great.
They're
not, though.
But I would say this: there are people who are very outspoken that this flavor of Overwatch is the Overwatch League that they like.
100%.
More so than ever, I think, I would say. But and we don't always agree with it, but we've told you enough about that.
Yes.
I think on this show and past shows. Let's talk about some games. And we're gonna start with The San Francisco Shock versus the Dallas Fuel. This was a big one. This was a 91-9 spread in favor of the San Francisco Shock. And let's be real, dudes.
We told you that was dumb.
It was close.
Yeah.
Now, I don't think any of us said Shock in 5.
No.
We're just like, no, 70-30. Got to bring it in a little bit, bruh. Not 91-9. But if you did place any bets, man, whoo, you could have gotten some money if that went the other way. It really came down to one fight.
Yeah, it's I don't know exactly what's going on with the Shock. I'm still like kind of scratching my head on where Sinatra is. I think he's flexible enough to play in hero pools, and it's not like some of the heroes that they were playing he's never played before. It's very bizarre.
You got to watch those Twitter bios next week.
Yeah.
I'm just kidding. That's not.
Watch your headers.
Hold on. Don't clip. That's a joke. It's not happening. Don't clip it. Don't share it anywhere. I have no info on the Shock. They just didn't play very well, and they won.
I think I would agree that I don't think the Shock played particularly well, especially in a meta that they should be playing well in. Again, very reminiscent of what the playoffs were last season. That's not to say you come out and look championship caliber immediately with all of the practice and all of the things that have been going on with the 2020 season. But this was the Shock underperforming, I would say severely, and the Fuel kind of showing us that they're not a meme. Like I said, they weren't going to be. This is a team that is... I don't even know if I'd go back and raise them up. I don't think I could justify raising them up if I knew that hero pools were coming out, but I'd want to. I think people are really coming around to the idea that kind of dream put in my head that DPS were going to be much more impactful because of the inherent chaos that hero pools brings, and the Fuel are prepared for that. They have two incredibly good DPS. They have very versatile DPS, and that is being shown. Gamsu not having to play Reinhardt is fantastic as well. It's column A, it's column B, it's the chaos, it's good players injected into the Fuel. It's San Francisco. I don't know what's going on with them. It's kind of just this storm, this perfect storm that's going to result in teams like the Fuel doing well, teams like Chengdu doing well, teams like the Valiant, which we'll get into, doing some crazy compositional choices and doing, relatively well, not winning, but, performing better than I think people expect. So,
yeah,
I hate to just hand wave and say hero pools all the time, but that's kind of what it comes down to, unless there's like a stronger argument otherwise. And I don't think that this game showed me much. Right.
Yeah. It's also, dude, okay. In a hypothetical scenario, and I'm of course not talking about this, that this is actually what's going on, right? But think about like what a backline like Slime and Twilight could do for the Fuel.
Sure.
That would be instantly nuts.
At that point, why don't you just go full Korean though? Not to go into like full Fuel building mode.
You can bring Janu. I don't care.
Sure. Like if you want to throw out buku bucks, then go ahead. And the Fuel apparently has money to spend. Their off season was quite
they don't have
lucrative.
slots, so it would have to be a trade, but at least
oh come on,
like
you can't just like grease somebody's palms. Hey, how about just retire for a little bit, and we'll like bring you on as a content
you don't have
creator.
Infinite money, bro. Like it's already rough. They already made that deal with that Faustin pact with Mickey and Taimo, I assume, right? So
I would agree. I'd imagine so. And I'd imagine that they probably don't have a ton of money with what's going on with COVID. People kind of like hoarding right now.
Yeah. But that also means they're probably not that expensive right now.
Very true. Very true. It's a weird time, hypothetically speaking. If teams were looking to trade there again, like, okay, let's just hypothetically say, let's say that some of the Titans players want to join the Fuel. The interest is there. You're in Korea. That to me, that raises, that takes like the likelihood and just plummets it.
Yeah.
You have to come back. probably not.
Just trade
interested in
everyone
doing that.
from Korea away and just go for an entirely Western roster, please, Vancouver. Just take one for the team. Just disperse your goodness over the entire league, and then just like bring on like a nice endemic roster. You know, like actually take AKM and Unco for the French Canadians, right? Like do that, please. And then like if you don't manage to make the Vancouver Titans as they are right now with that roster a top 3, top 5 team in the Overwatch League, then please meme away in some other way.
Sure. I mean, it's they have room to do. They would have hypothetical room to do a lot of things. Again, Europe is just a gold mine that's just waiting to be tapped into that nobody's really interested in. KSB obviously coming from Samsung Morning Stars, for those who even understand what that team was or where they played. Yeah, not saying every team in Europe had great players, but there's enough players that you could probably field like a decent team. Look at Mayhem Academy. Yeah, if any team was to blow up and rebuild, I think you definitely could and field like a competitive roster. But to stay on track here, I don't think the field's bad. I never thought the field was completely booty cheeks, but I think Hero Pools severely helped them. And the hats have to go to, like, kudos have to go to that DPS line. And yeah, Shock's not hot, not great. And I think this speaks more towards that argument than any other week, because this week is very reminiscent to how they won their championship, and they're not performing. They're going again 3-2 versus the Fuel, who aren't a great team, not a bad team, not a great team, right? They should be able to put away the Fuel very easily, and this was a struggle. That's not a good sign. Vitals are low.
Yeah, red flag.
Big red flag.
Red flag. Not abandoning ship by any means, but you know,
I mean, they won, right?
One eye open.
They still won. 100%.
One eye open. Just got my eye on you, San Francisco.
Yep.
All right. I do want to talk about the Chinese region a little bit, and that is because I don't understand it.
You and me both.
Can I just say
that's the beauty of it, right?
I just don't get it. I don't. I get that Shanghai is really good.
Yep.
And then I feel like there's two teams who are exactly the same.
Yep.
Guangzhou and Hangzhou. Like they're just they could be the same thing. They have the same logos basically. They have like just the grayscaled color schemes of the same type of thing. I don't know. They're just like their city names are 2 letters different, and
sure.
then you have Chengdu. Chengdu or Chengdon't. There is no try.
Okay.
They did this week though.
Here's the allegory for Chengdu. So there's a Zen in the, I think it was around the Middle Ages. There was a Zen painter. And Zen Buddhism, of course, like coming from Taoism, like weirdly connected to China and in terms of philosophy and everything. And basically what he did was he got very, very drunk every day in the morning, would dip his long hair in ink, swoosh it across the paper, and did a Rorschach test on it. So he looked at what he drew and then just made it prettier. And that is Chengdu or Chinese Overwatch. To a degree, like a little bit of those Rorschach blot like ink things, of course, hero pools, but it's just like, okay, some pack team played this comp. Let's see what it does. And then they just like try to make it pretty, and somehow it's beautiful. Somehow it works.
See, I don't hate the analogy.
You can't hate that analogy. You can't.
I don't hate it. I just don't think it was this week at all.
This week, maybe not. Yeah. But
I think in general, I would agree.
Yeah.
That's a very narrative analysis.
This week, even last week, I would even agree that they definitely, actually, since I've made that comment that everyone hated me for, I would actually say they started prepping more and coming back to their old Chengdu ways because
of your
like,
feedback.
If you guys.
Because of your feedback.
Maybe.
They listened to the show. They heard. They're like, you know what, guys? Hey, Yiska brought up something different. What if we like used strategy and prepared
What
for
if
our
we
matches?
used our brains?
What if we did that? And they did it. And so, you know what,
That's not what
Yiska?
happened, guys.
Yiska, you get the. Never mind, I can't play the sounder. My bad.
I actually got subtweeted by out. Come on.
Yeah.
I feel like Ahmed subtweeted me, by the way, just between us. They don't know, therefore they criticize or something like. I'm like, I know, bitch. I saw you. I just saw your scrims.
I know what that tweet meant.
Yeah.
I would say that this is like a rubber band of Chengdu. I think they started off with the whole creativity, Rorschach, Zen Buddhism, painting analogy. And
clip that, by the way, just that sentence.
They've creatively found their way into duplicating brain cells and making a lot of sense of what they're doing, rather than just like, I guess we're gonna play Wrecking Ball. Now they're like, oh, cool, we're playing against a lot of Pharah. How do we deal with Pharah? Well, we do this XYZ. We put Leave on Ash on maps that's supplemented. If not, we play a lot of dive. We play aggressive. Compare that against the Spark, who had no idea what they were doing, and they already saw VODs of the charge. I have a bone to pick with the Spark. We'll get to them, but I think Chengdu look fantastic. I would say, as of week 11, they're the second best team in Asia right now that have played. Second best Chinese team.
Chengdu. So you're saying just Chengdu are better than Guangzhou and Hangzhou?
I would say so.
Okay, I'm fine
right
with that.
now.
I'm fine with that. Right
Not
now,
better than Shanghai, right? Shanghai's like
no.
That's different.
Yeah, no. Yeah, I didn't take that from you at all. But you said
Okay,
at first you
maybe,
said
yeah.
Asia, and I'm like, you're saying like South? Are you saying like Seoul? Are you saying
Just from the teams that we've seen play
from the
and
Chinese
right now?
teams that
Yeah.
are basically from the Chinese teams? And I would
The
agree
thing
with you.
is, they got 3-0 clapped, right? Like the week before by Spark. It's still like largely like mumbo jumbo, like let's make sure everything's even.
Week 9, they went 3-2 versus Charge, then 1-3 Shanghai. Yeah, they did get clapped. Again, I hate to hand wave and put Kool-Aid in your eyes, but could be hero pools. Just saying. Could just be hero pools.
I'm dying.
Now, okay. Sick transition,
Okay.
maybe. We'll see if
Of
John wants
course,
to
yeah.
pick this up. Look at Paris, Florida. Tell me that that's not just hero pools.
And the neck.
I'm just saying.
Probably too. No, like in all fairness, if we always constantly say hero pools, we also got to give Chengdu that benefit of the doubt.
Sure.
That they got clapped by hero pools. What was the week actually? Was it actively just like malicious towards Chengdu's playstyle? I already forgot what we had
It's
banned.
playstyle, and it's also reads, right? Like, this better than anybody. I feel like this is something straight up your alley. It's figuring out what is being played and how you fit within that kind of meta for that week. And sometimes you hit it and sometimes you just don't. And yeah, we do bring it up a lot, but we're also not talking about like the 8 other games that were played. We're just talking about the one game that was just like, hey, that was just our dice roll this week. And sometimes you land wrong. And that's why this upset happened.
Yeah, definitely possible.
Now, we're not saying that necessarily with Fuel and Shock, right? This was almost an upset, but it wasn't just hero pools. It had a role to play, but it wasn't just hero pools. I think a lot of what Chengdu did against Shanghai, probably hero pools, right? Let's face that. For the Florida Mayhem beating the Paris Eternal, probably just a bad meta read from the Paris Eternal. A lot of these other games,
or just bad. Like the thing is, if you remember back, Florida also had that in the Reaper mirror the first time around. They played Paris, I think. So maybe it's just hero pools in the sense that the things that were banned out just massively favored
100%.
Mayhem.
That's going to happen.
Not
as well.
necessarily that Paris had a bad read. I don't think that necessarily.
I would say that it was a bad read, but I also generally agree with you. Generally speaking, I would agree with that.
So there are a lot of people though who immediately want to attribute Paris's underperformance. I think we can call it that. Last week of getting 3-0'd by Paris or by Florida as being because of missing XC. And Joe, you had some thoughts before the show about why you didn't think that was the case.
Yeah, I don't think that's necessarily the case. This felt like much more of a Nico question mark rather than, oh, Soon's just not as good on Reaper. Therefore, XY, like, I don't think that missing Xe was the deciding factor, whereas putting Nico on the Doomfist, which he has looked shaky on, he has had some good games. He has had some games where he's a non-factor. I would say this is one of those games where he was a non-factor. We've seen teams play a lot of May this week. They did not seem interested in playing May. Why is that? I think it was a read. I think they were not prepared to play the May. We know Nico can play May. We know Nico is a very good May. Why weren't they playing May? They decided to play the Pharah instead. Very strange pick. Granted, not necessarily in Asia, but when you're scrimming here, seems very strange. Yeah, it's bizarre. I think my take from this was a bad read. You read into that what you want.
Yeah, and it might be like it's hard to say, of course. And I think that there's also a niche with post-game interviews or like just like content creation around these things, asking coaches, asking players, what was your plan? What was the reason you were caught off guard here? Why did we see these wildly unexpected outcomes? And to then say, okay, we can put it in this bed, in this compartment, like, okay, they didn't read the meta well, or okay, like we couldn't really fill the role because the player was sick. These types of things. So, yeah.
Yep. I don't think it's one person. I think it's probably a majority. A lot of different things happening all at once. Not having Xe probably hurts them. Yeah, sure. It's not just that. And I also wouldn't say it's just Nico, but I would say that that's much more of a factor than not having your star hit scan when you have Soon, who is very capable on playing Reaper, not Doomfist. Yeah, just my take.
All right, let's go to the Battle of LA here. And I think we discussed it. We discussed it a little bit with Curry Shot on Friday. Again, if you didn't catch our special episode with Curry Shot, probably worth going back to. But the Battle for LA went pretty deep. We went to map 5. There was a lot of, let's just say, Overwatch League player personality displaying.
How very coy of you.
I know. Honestly, from both sides, but I think a little bit more publicly from the LA Gladiators about their dislike for the way the LA Valiant executed their strategy for the game. Was that politically savvy enough?
I think that was as, tame as it is going to get.
Anyways, so just remember, the LA Gladiators do defeat the LA Valiant 3-2, but Twitter would tell you a different story. Multiple players calling out the LA Valiant for playing a dishonest composition, playing trash heroes, and all in all, I think just being really upset that the game went to 5 maps. And Curry Shot did come on the show and he said, ultimately the team was disappointed because we do think that we're a better team and we just couldn't prepare, or we prepared. You guys can correct me on this, and this isn't necessarily how I feel, but this is kind of a sentiment I saw this past week. And it's that there is kind of, when you're scrimming in Overwatch League, there's this kind of gentleman's agreement that when you're scrimming, you're not you're trying, and a lot of teams get blacklisted if they don't try, and so there is a check and balance for that. But also that if you scrim against a team, you don't see wildly different looks from them consistently when you go to play the game. It's kind of like we're going to meet each other on the same, the same footing. It's like in baseball, there's a lot of unwritten rules. Like
Sure.
Throwing a fastball high and inside on another player or on a batter after they hit your pitch or they hit your batter the inning before and stuff. Like there's just kind of these unwritten rules, and one of those is kind of like our scrims are our practice, and this is there's something sacred about how we scrim each other and how we use that information to come together on a battlefield that weekend and have the best team win or lose. And it's my understanding that that was the biggest thing that I think frustrated the Gladiators, is that they came in with something a lot different. And it felt dishonest and almost like, we're going to do this and bam, show up with this. Do you think that there's any truth to that? And do you think that that's valid? There's going to be a lot of people, and there's already people last week on the Curry Shot video saying like, when teams trying to do whatever you can to win. Like there's a lot of dirty things that you can do in professional sports that teams don't do because there's
100%.
a gentleman's agreement, even though it's not against the rules.
Sure. So just to quickly clarify, in terms of validity, what are we checking off? How valid it is to try something out of the box?
Do you think, number one, that there's an expectation between two teams to play a certain way?
No.
In Overwatch League? You don't. Yiska?
No.
Do you?
There are expectations for you to win the match. That's the expectation. Yeah.
Yep.
And do you think that the Valiant did the best they could given the situation to position themselves to do so?
I believe so.
With the information you have. Obviously you can't know what else unless you
I believe the fact that they got close to it working in their current condition is enough evidence for me to believe that this was a solid game plan.
Yeah.
And it was also it was obvious that, if like what Curry basically said on Friday is, if you play an wacky off meta comp that you are only playing, then you won't get practice in the mirror. So what it then comes down to is who can adapt. Of course, like there's some overlap to like playing that composition into anything, and then yes, you get maybe a couple % head start on someone trying to mirror you.
Sure.
But like if you play a completely off meta wacky comp, you better make sure that it's perfectly within your best ability of the idiosyncrasies of your team. So like you have the best Ashe player in the league or whatever, then this can work. And if it doesn't, then the problem is like Bertrand just like clapped right on map 5. That's what happens then. You don't necessarily have a leg up in the mirror. It then comes down to like just like seeing the patterns in the Rorschach blot, and then just like connecting the dots, and
100%.
somehow Bertrand connects heads better than anyone else on the server.
And that's where I think it's not. I think there's like some flaws with that logic, because you're agreeing to a knife fight. You're saying, I really don't. Yeah. We weren't prepared for this. They weren't, interested in trying to mirror what everybody else is running, or, within the same idea of what everybody else was running. They're trying something different. So let's agree to the knife fight and abandon that practice. I think that's a very strategic move. I don't think it's just something that even Curry would agree with in saying that they just said willy-nilly. I think it was more of a calculated decision, something that probably throughout the match, they were like, okay, if we needed to play this, how would we do it? And could we? By map 5, they decided, hey, this might actually be it might give us more effective value in terms of like kind of pokerizing it. But yeah, I don't necessarily think it's like foolproof. I don't think that it's specifically like, oh, well, you can't practice the mirror if you're playing some cheese stuff. I think there's more to that.
The problem is if KSF is this knife, and then Bertrand comes out and is this knife.
Exactly.
That's a problem for you.
Why the hell do you have a knife?
Why do I have knives?
What the hell?
I don't know.
I make bread, okay?
At your
You make
desk?
bread in your room.
I don't have time to eat anywhere else.
Nice.
Dude, you're taking away all the monetization for this video, by the way, because now you have weapons.
Wait, how is that a weapon? I got bread.
How is it not a weapon? I just
That-
talked about knife fights.
Yeah. Oh.
Then he took it away.
Yeah, okay.
We're talking about a game where people suck each other into black holes. What is
All right.
going on?
Chat, we really
I
need
hate America.
the subs and Patreon this week because we can't run
He's
ads
just
on
got
it.
A full set of
This is
china
a
in his
kitchen
room.
knife, bro. Come on.
Yeah,
Can it break skin?
probably.
I cut bread with a knife. Well, how do you Americans do? Do you just like get into the loaf?
We buy it from the store. Pre-cut.
Pre-cut? Oh my God. That's like asking your mom to cut off the crust for your sandwiches.
We have that
You
kind of
absolute
bread
infantile
too.
children.
We have that kind of bread too.
Oh no, you
Less
cannot
so.
do
It's
that
called-
to bread, bro.
It's called innovation.
Hey, get with the times. Old
Aye.
man.
And to be fair, American bread sucks.
Yeah, it
Store bought American bread
It's poop.
is generally pretty bad, but at
I
least
also have it to run faster, of course.
I mean, yeah, you got to refill that Brita filter, you know, that extra couple seconds faster. You hop your way to the faucet as well.
Yep. Yep.
Now I just have a mental image.
Sometimes I fall with the filter, and then there's like a Sage slow up on the board, and I just
Whoa,
beam up
wrong
to the-
podcast. Wrong podcast. We're getting a little off theme here. You mean
Sorry.
May, right? You meant
Oh,
May,
yeah. Yes.
right? Just with Blizzard and the ice wall. Yeah, that
Yeah.
game.
yeah.
That game.
Well, it's a mercy.
Yes, I agree.
It's a mercy. Anyways,
Yeah, why do you have knives in your room? And B, I don't even remember where we were, to be completely honest with you.
do you have kitchens in Germany?
Yeah, but
Isn't
dude,
kitchen
I
a
don't
German
leave-
word?
No, it's not. It's
Oh.
Küche is the German word. That's your word of the day.
That's word of the day. Beautiful. I'm glad we weaved
What is
that in
it?
the show.
Küche.
Kusha?
Kuchia.
Küche.
Kusha.
There's a lot of
Seems
outward,
way more
yeah,
difficult than
whistling
kitchen.
almost.
Küche.
Yeah, I just call
Yes,
it
it
Kuchia,
is.
You know,
Yeah.
this is a very Lao vom like word of the week. You know, try harder next time. You know?
It's unreal that you guys actually still remember
That's
that
the
one.
only
Laubom,
one
I
that's
think,
like
is the only
stuck.
one I remember. You did one
Yeah.
really long one that I learned the pronunciation of and then forgot after the show.
Mm.
True.
Anyways, all right, chat. We're done. That's enough of this tomfoolery. Interesting enough. So I've started noting in our show notes which odd predictions were right and wrong.
Mhm.
And only 2 wrong odd predictions last week, and that was the Florida Mayhem versus Paris Eternal, which was 67% in favor of Paris Eternal, and then Guangzhou was 61% favored against Chengdu. So,
High five, John. I got that right. Me and you.
hey,
Also, just for the preview episode, Joe already said some heinous stuff in the
Oh, cut!
before the
You're
show
gonna tell me that's
about
heinous.
Chengdu.
You're
and
gonna
that's
tell
why
me
I'm also
that's
bringing knives to the
heinous.
next
Are
podcast.
you kidding
Just
me?
so you know. Next
All right,
podcast.
it's on
this
site.
Man,
It's on
this
site
man
next time.
said
You're dumb.
This man
You're
said
dumb.
NYXL is losing. By the way, just get ready for next one.
Like, how are you're
I'm
the
coming with a
master of
karambit fade.
pulling like all of the like nonsensical. Oh, well, it could be a bye week, or oh, it's a 2-match week. Dog, they're in Korea. They just moved to Korea.
Yeah.
There's more teams. We talked about this literally the last show. Not the last show because that was Curry Shop. The show before that one. We talked about, and you agreed with me, talking about how more teams entering Asia was going to benefit Chengdu. And you're going to tell me that the team formerly known as the NYXL, I'm calling the New York Poopers. Now we're in
This guy is
Korea.
way too low on my bands. Like,
Are you kidding me? And
is
they just did
NYXL
well.
losing against Charge? Okay, let me ask this.
That I
Charge
don't know.
against NYXL?
I would say that might be a little
bringing
charge
knives.
favored.
I'm bringing knives.
I would say that might be charge favored. Yeah. We'll see. I'll see how my mood changes by Wednesday. I don't think NYXL is good. I think NYXL is bad, and they're going to do worse because they just got done traveling. And they have to play some weird stuff. But that's for Wednesday.
See, chat, all families are not perfect. Your dads hate each other. Your dads just hate each other. And honestly, 2 out of the 3 are idiots. Guess which 2? One of them cuts bread at their computer desk. I will tell you that much. All right. We're out. We're done. I can't. So this is where a good organizational structure comes in and says, "Hey, we can just be done with the show." Hey, buddy.
Quarantine is totally not getting to us, by the way.
Hey,
We're
buddy.
completely healthy, functioning adults right now.
Oh, man. I will say this. I would take worse tasting bread pre-cut than having to cut better tasting bread.
No.
And you guys, my God. You guys make fun of me for my robot tags. Come on. It's way lazier.
Yeah, no, that one.
All right.
That's a Croucher insider.
Oh,
you got to
man.
be there for the watch parties to understand this one.
It's true.
I also see that Joe's comments on the Titans being a projection of, or not, and like the idea of families already made it on Reddit. It's already on Reddit.
I've said this before. I don't know why Reddit's now just picking up on this. Maybe you should pay attention, huh? Reddit.
No, it has to be an event. Otherwise, nobody cares. You could literally
open your eyes. I'm spilling all kinds of facts.
People
all right,
could
chat.
literally be typing the literal word of God into Reddit, and unless like the grasshoppers were already on our door, we wouldn't.
You would know.
Understand? No.
All right. Okay. Yep.
Reel it in, John. You got it.
All right.
Here are the reins.
All right. We're out of here, chat. Follow Joe at Volamel. Follow Yiska at Yiska out. You guys have anything big and important coming out before Wednesday?
No.
I think I'm going to dive a little bit more into Ash, and for Valorant this week, probably talk about Jet and her place and why I'm tired of seeing people buying guns on that character.
Just don't buy guns.
Tune in line. Don't buy guns.
You
can just run away. That's the point.
You just fly away. Exactly. Sprout wings.
Yeah. Peggy, you're so wrong on that. I'm sorry. I don't have the brain cell. I don't normally have the brain cell on this show. Let's be real. But I appreciate you. And that's how you... Oh, you're already VIP'd. Never mind. I don't need to VIP. You're already VIP'd. Yeah. All right. As for me, you can find me everywhere at KickedTripod, and I hope you enjoy the show. Big thank you to our patron producers: Battle Crab Pin, Lotion, Charlie L, Audio Compass, Pork Chop, Sammy, Kasha67, Coochie Kopi, Salsa Boy 91, Shara, and Picasso. Y'all are the best. Like the show. Go to patreon.com/tacticalcrouch. You can support right there. We'll announce on Wednesday when our next game night is. It's probably going to be coming up pretty soon because we're nearing the end of the month.
Yep.
I need to get that going because we want to play games with you all. We also got one 5-star review from Joe's going to read it right now.
Yeah. It's Aiko Overwatch from Great Britain, which is constantly surprising on where all listeners are from or viewers. For those of you who watch the YouTube feed and stream and like us hanging out on Twitch. It's always crazy to hear like where we've reached to. Where our podcast is consumed from. So thank you from across the pond. Thanks for the support. And if you would like to support the show that isn't necessarily monetary, you could also leave a 5-star iTunes review and we'll shout you on the show if you leave your name. If not, we love you anyways.
I developed so much trust in you, Joe,
Like
from
that?
that. That was perfect. That was great.
A+.
Yiska, did you see how that was done?
Well.
Did you see how you do that?
Oh,
let me... I don't have
guns off the rails because I know Akko from Blues Chat, where he's always drunk. So I would have gone that.
Yiska just goes, I do not have it open. It is not open on my monitor.
Oh my god.
I have.
Oh my God.
The bread is in the way. The bread is. Hold on. Let me cut it. I need to cut the bread so I can see. Oh, I need to get this out off of my monitor, and then be like a new patron, and he'd be like, for just $1, only one.
For all the German fans.
Is this person whose name I will make fun of for 35 seconds, starting now. And then, thanks for being a patron.
That's how it goes.
It's how it
That's
goes.
exactly how. That's why we are sitting pretty in Europe, in the middle, like in the golden banana. That's just so German. That's German effectivity. We work like 300 hours less.
You have knives in your rooms. I don't want to hear you talk.
It's true. That's why our GDP,
See, because
that's why our GDP
Why
is
would I
so
ever
goddamn
leave the
high.
room where I already have all the cutlery and everything here.
Yeah, I know.
All I need. I never need you to get up.
You have 2 knives. Why?
Do you have any more weird stuff here?
Probably. Knowing you do. You drink out of a pitcher, dog.
Next week, we're going to do a segment called What's on Yiska's Desk? And, you know,
Instead
like
of
those
what's in the
radio.
bag, yeah.
So, in the United States, Yiska, we have something called radio. And there's these radio stations that play music and sometimes have talk shows. And we have these games. And like how it kind of is like they'll play like a sound clip over the radio and you have to guess what it is. In this case, we're going to do one where we just have to guess the item on your desk.
Okay.
That's what we'll do.
Let me just moisturize my hands.
You have to find a way to give like one.
no.
You have to have you have to find. And there goes our last monetization tick.
3 strikes for all.
All right,
Thanks for showing
chat.
me, guys.
This was a cluster of an episode. I'm not gonna lie to you.
Love that.
Yeah, secret
They're
sound,
always the
Peggy.
best
You're
one,
right.
though. Come on.
It was fun. Chat. Hope you had fun. We're gonna be back for a very brief post show right after the music. And thanks for hanging out. We'll see you guys next time. Bye.
Shoop